What's up, guys? This is Isaac Vando, and I'm color neutral. And being color neutral is really awesome because it lets you pick from 6 different crosses, so you can generally get a pretty efficient cross. And then it's much easier to look ahead for F2L because you don't have to worry about trying to do some crazy cross at the beginning of your solve. So it's really awesome, but the problem is that you have 6 sides to choose from. Now if you're only solving on white, then it's pretty easy because you just look for the white edges and then you put them into place. Whether it's fast or not, it doesn't take a long time to decide which side. But with color neutral, you have to decide which cross you're going to do. So after a lot of practice, this can get pretty easy, but at first it can be really hard. So this video is intended for anyone who thinks they could use some extra tips for solving color neutral crosses, or is just starting out, or is just interested, or is a pro but is curious to see if I have any tips that they don't know about. So anyway, let's get started. So before you start trying to pick a cross, you need to make sure that your normal cross color doesn't jump out. So say you normally solve on white, you might instantly see, oh, we have the 4 white edges right here. But then you're missing so many other opportunities. So try to look at each edge as being a cross edge for whichever 2 colors are on there. So this could be a red cross edge also, because I could do a D2, put that one down. So if you do that, then already your color neutral crosses will get much better, and it'll be really hard to do it first. With some practice, you'll be able to get it. So first tip, and this is a pretty obvious one that most of you probably know about, but it is just look for edges that are connected. So for example, this one is in the right place there. This edge is connected, so that could move down to the orange, or it could be a blue cross edge. This one is blue is connected, so it can move down to there. This white, this red, you see where I'm going with this, and you'll be able to generally find some good crosses just by edges being connected. But you probably already know that, and that's probably how you're choosing crosses. So let's get into some more advanced. So this one isn't really that advanced, but look for opposites, because for example right here, these 2 are opposites, so those are essentially in their right place in relation to each other, and this one is opposite there, so we can put that down. So that's a super easy cross. So just look out for opposites. But oftentimes you might not have many or any edges attached at all. So in this case, if we scan around the cube, none of these edges are attached anywhere. So you have to look for other things. So one thing that you can see very quickly just when you're scanning the cube in like 2 seconds or faster is edges that are opposite and across from each other. So right here, these 2 are they can be put in correctly in relation to each other just with an M2, and so that's very useful because you can generally find pretty good crosses when you have things like these. So another thing to look for that you can see very quickly is edges that are opposite to a center color. So this one, for example, right here, these are both opposite, so it doesn't even really matter how they are positioned on the top layer. I know that I can just position the edges on the down layer and then put these into place. So they're not always the most efficient crosses, but they can be executed very quickly and simply and make looking ahead for F2L very easy. So another important thing is, say you might be scanning the cube, you might see, okay, well, there's this orange in place, or green, and this orange can come down easily. So already that's one move to have 2 edges in place. So from there, explore more of that cross, because if you see a cross where you can tell that like 2 pieces are going to be very inefficient to put in, then you know that it's probably not going to be the best cross. Now that's not always true, because putting in other edges could affect those pieces, but I see that just one move and that's in, and then that happens to bring this down, so then 2 and 3 moves, so a 3 move cross, which is really efficient, and it preserves this pair also. So just look out for edges, or look out for edges that are easy to insert, and then find the other ones after that, and oftentimes you can get a great cross that way. So another method is, say you're looking around the cube and you find 2 crosses that are really good. There aren't necessarily 2 that are really good on here, but you find 2 that are really good and you can't decide which one to choose. Well, one thing you can do is look for pairs. So this this could be good for an X cross. That could either be a green edge or an orange edge or a yellow pair. So in this example, it's really good for yellow because I can see that I can solve this cross with only R and D moves, and this won't be affected by at all. So then we can insert it very quickly, because you see I can do that to put those into place, and then that, and then insert that edge. So you want to look out for another thing. Yeah, that's another method that some people use quite a lot, is just look around the cube and see if you find any pairs. So this pair example, that could be blue cross edge, or I mean a blue pair, or white or orange cross edge. So look out for stuff like that. Some people they just prioritize and try to find pairs, and then they try to build X crosses around that, but I wouldn't generally recommend that because oftentimes your crosses will be really inefficient then. So another awesome thing to do is look for how many faces it takes to solve a cross. So for orange, I have these two edges in right here, and I have this one right here and this one right here. So I see that this can be solved with D, R, and F moves, which is awesome because it's easy to execute for one thing, which is great, but also it preserves everything in this 2x2 block right here. So if you want to find your first pair, it's going to be way easier because I see this edge, for example, is in there. So then I know where that edge is going to be, and then I only have to track its corresponding corner to figure out where that's going to end up. Those are all the biggest tips I have for you guys, but just to recap, the biggest, most important part of finding a good cross is just practice. Practice, practice, practice. It takes a long time, but you'll be able to figure it out. And you'll just finding edges quicker so that you can immediately see how you would go about solving a cross to decide whether or not it's efficient enough for you, and it'll come with time, but it's really awesome once you figure it out because you can get such awesome crosses, and it makes looking ahead to F2L so much easier. So thank you guys all for watching, and if you enjoyed, just go ahead and leave a like or subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.